Have you ever ridden a motorbike along a coastal road with dense rainforest on one side and endless ocean on the other? If not, I'm being honest, you're missing out on one of the most beautiful experiences Phu Quoc has to offer. Most visitors here take taxis or follow tour buses. But when I ask them, did you ever stop somewhere on the road just because it looked beautiful? They hesitate. And that's exactly why I always encourage travelers to rent a motorbike. Open Google Maps once, and then turn it off. You only need to remember two things. Fill up your tank, and get ready to be blown away. I once took a Dutch girl named Yvonne on a motorbike trip from Duong Dong Town to Gan Dao at the island's northern tip. She didn't say much, just sat behind me, eyes wide, occasionally giggling when we hit a bumpy patch. We stopped at this deserted coastal stretch. In front of us, white sand. In the distance, Cambodia. She stood still for a while, then whispered, "Billy, this is the freest I've felt in years." That's what motorbiking in Phu Quoc gives you. Freedom. No one rushing you. No fixed destinations. Just winding curves. The wind in your ears. The scent of jungle. The tang of sea air. And sometimes, the distinct smell of dried fish sunbathing by the road. Billy's favorite route. Start in Duong Dong through Cuacan to stop at Vung Bao Beach to ride up to Gan Dao to dip into the national forest to hit Bai Tom to then cruise back via the East Coast scenic route. Along the way, you'll pass unnamed beaches, hidden sugarcane stalls tucked into the trees, barefoot kids waving at you, and even water buffalo soaking in muddy ponds like they're enjoying a spa day. An American traveler once asked me, "Billy, what if we get lost?" I said, completely serious, "Good. Getting lost in Phu Quoc isn't dangerous. It just helps you find more than you planned." Now picture this. You're riding under the midday sun, golden light flooding the road. Suddenly, to your right, the ocean appears sparkling blue, completely empty. You pull over, kick off your shoes, run down the sand, and plunge into the water. No tour guide scheduled that moment. Only your own journey could have brought you here. Quick tip. Bring a GoPro or a tripod for your phone. The winding coastal roads between Bai Dai and Reich Vem can give you shots that rival Santorini. No joke. Billy's ride tips. Rent from a reputable shop. Check the brakes, lights, and tires before you go. Always wear a quality helmet. The sun here doesn't play around. Don't over-plan. Let your heart be your GPS. There was a couple from Ohio who rode with me for 3 days around the island. When we wrapped up, they said, "We came here to relax, but we're leaving with stories we never expected." And I get it. Because when you ride on your own, you're not just visiting a destination. You're touching life. I'm Billy Tran, and I truly believe if you want to know a place, walk through its markets. But if you want to feel its soul, get on a motorbike and ride. Have you ever done a motorbike trip before? Is there a road that stayed with you ever since? Tell me about it in the comments. And if Phu Quoc is on your radar, don't hesitate to message me. I'll map out a journey for you, one that's never in the guidebooks. You know, when people talk about Phu Quoc, they almost always mention the sea, and that's fair. But if you only see Phu Quoc through the blue of the ocean, you're missing half of its magic. Because the other half? It's the deep, quiet green of Phu Quoc's ancient jungle. I always tell my guests, if the ocean is the island's breath, then the forest is its silent heartbeat. Have you ever stepped into a forest where the only sound is your own? The soft crunch of leaves under your feet, the distant chatter of birds overhead, the wind slipping through the trees like the earth is whispering directly to you? I've taken many travelers from the US and Europe into the national park here. At first, they talk a lot about perfect photo angles, drone shots, Instagram stories, but give it 15 minutes deep into the trail, and suddenly, silence. No one tells them to be quiet. It just happens. Because that's when nature starts to speak. Phu Quoc's primary rainforest lies within the Northern Nature Reserve. Over 60% of the island is still covered in untouched jungle. You'll see 100-year-old trees with vines twisting around them like spiderwebs. Sometimes you'll spot small claw marks, signs of grasshoppers, squirrels, or long-tailed macaques that live deep in the forest. I once guided a woman from Boston. She'd worked in finance for 30 years. We were walking a trail to Dan Yan Waterfall when she stopped, looked up at the green canopy, and started crying. I asked quietly, "Are you okay?" She said, "For the first time in years, I feel small, but in the best, most freeing way." That's what the forest does. It doesn't talk. It doesn't try to teach you anything. It just is, and somehow, that's enough to change you. Billy's Forest Tips. Go early in the morning to avoid the heat and see more birds. Wear lightweight trekking shoes, bring water, and don't forget mosquito spray. And if you can, walk slowly. The forest wasn't made for rushing. Deep inside the jungle, you'll find cold, clear mountain streams. There's one spot I love, a nameless little stream with mossy rocks and water, so clean you can splash your face with it and feel instantly refreshed. Honestly, it feels better than any high-end skincare product I've ever tried. And here's something most people don't know. Phu Quoc isn't just trees, it's home to a rich ecosystem of animals. You might see red-whiskered bulbuls, long-tailed monkeys, and if you're really lucky, a silvered langur, an endangered primate that's almost disappeared from Vietnam. A young Vietnamese American boy I once guided asked me, "Uncle Billy, are there ghosts in this forest?" I laughed and said, "Oh yes, nature's ghosts. They stay with you long after you've left." What I love most about leading tours into the jungle isn't just the scenery. It's watching people pause. Not because they're tired, but because they've been humbled. They put their phones down. They stop asking what time it is. They stop checking for cell service. They just sit on a rock, take a long, deep breath, and smile. Have you ever had a moment like that? Where nothing else mattered except the sounds of nature and the beat of your own heart? I truly believe every walk into the forest is a journey inward. Toward a part of yourself that's been buried under deadlines and noise. Toward the part of your soul that doesn't need sleep, just stillness. I'm Billy Tran, a tour guide who's walked these trails hundreds of times, and yet every time I come back, I feel like a beginner. Because the forest is never the same twice. And neither are you. So if you think Phu Quoc is only about beaches, I invite you to listen to the forest. Have you ever gone forest trekking? What moment stayed with you? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Have you ever been out in the middle of the ocean at 10 p.m.? Not on a luxury cruise or some packed tourist boat, but on a small wooden fishing boat with a handful of local fishermen, a flickering light above you, a rod in your hand, and your eyes fixed on the dark, deep waters below? If you haven't, I truly hope you try night squid fishing in Phu Quoc at least once. Because it's not just a fun activity. It's a journey, a quiet, soulful one, where you discover stillness within yourself. The first time I took a group of American travelers squid fishing, there was one one-year-old boy named Leo. As the boat pulled away from the dock, he turned to me and said, "Billy, the sea at night, it's scary, but also kind of beautiful." I smiled and replied, "Wait till you feel the magic of waiting in silence." And then bam, a squid bites. Squid fishing at night is unlike anything you've ever done. There's no loud music, no flashy lights, no chaos. Just the cool sea breeze, the salty air, and the soft glow of green lights reflecting on the water's black surface. Honestly, it feels like stepping into a Miyazaki movie dreamlike, untouched, full of wonder. You'll be handed a simple fishing rod, no high-tech gear here. Just a string, a squid hook, a bit of fresh bait. You sit on the edge of the boat, drop the line, and wait. What are you waiting for? You're waiting for that little tug, that odd little vibration from the deep. When a squid takes the bait, you pull it up, and surprise, it sprays ink like a mini smoke bomb. True story. I once got ink all over my white shirt that night. Everyone on the boat called me Black Squid Billy. But man, it was fun. Not theme park fun, this was raw, real, belly laugh kind of joy. No fake sound effects, just laughter, high fives, and someone yelling, "Yeah, got one." Picture this. You're out at sea. No land in sight, just a handful of new friends around you. Above, a sky full of stars. Below, gentle waves rocking the boat. In your hand, a fishing rod. And in your mind, nothing. Just peace. You're not thinking about work, or deadlines, or unread emails. You're just thinking, I wish this moment could last forever. And then comes the best part, eating what you catch. Right there, on the boat. The fishermen grill the squid over a tiny charcoal stove. No fancy spices, just sea salt, fresh lime, and chili. You take that first bite, still warm, tender, naturally sweet. And you close your eyes because you want to remember this taste forever. A guest from Hawaii once told me after her first bite, "Billy, I eat sushi every week back home, but I've never had squid like this." Maybe it's the freshness, or maybe it's the experience. I believe it's both, because good food isn't just about ingredients. It's about the journey and the people you share it with. Did you know night squid fishing isn't just a tourist activity in Phu Quoc? It's a way of life. These islanders grow up with the sea, live by the sea, and find joy in its simplest gifts. Billy's tips. Go during dry season, November to April, calm seas, lots of squid. Bring a light jacket, the ocean breeze gets chilly. And most importantly, bring a heart open to new things. I once asked an old fisherman from Duong Tu, "Don't you get tired going out every night like this?" He just smiled and said, "We don't go out for the money. We go because we miss the sea." And you? Have you ever gone out to sea at night? Not to catch something, but to reconnect with yourself? If not, I invite you to come to Phu Quoc. Hop on a boat with me. We'll catch squid, swap stories, and stare at the stars like it's the first time we've ever really seen them. I'm Billy Tran, and I believe a truly memorable journey doesn't need to be luxurious. It just needs a boat, a quiet night, and a heart that's willing to listen to the beauty in simple things. If you've ever been night squid fishing, share your story in the comments below. If you haven't, reach out. I'll take you there. You know, if there's one scent that instantly makes the people of Phu Quoc feel homesick, it's not the smell of the sea. It's the aroma of pepper and fish sauce. Bold, rich, hard to describe, and impossible to forget. I remember a Japanese tourist once asked me, "Billy, why's the fish sauce here so salty?" I smiled and said, "Because it's salty like the sea, but deep, like the love of the people who make it." Let's start with the pepper. Phu Quoc has plenty of pepper farms, but my favorite is in Cu Tuong, where tall rows of lush green pepper vines stretch above your head, forming a living maze. I love bringing guests here in the early morning when dew still clings to the leaves, birds are chirping, and golden sunlight filters through the vines like a soft light show. As you walk through the farm, you'll hear a gentle snap-snap sound, pepper stems falling to the ground. It's a sound that feels uniquely Phu Quoc. An old farmer there, wiry and weathered, hands stained from harvesting, once told me, "Growing pepper is tough, but it makes me happy. A little heat in someone's mouth, and they'll remember it forever." And it's true. Phu Quoc pepper has this distinct, tingling kick, not as bold as Compote, not as mild as Phu Yen. It's just right. Makes you squint the first time, then crave more the next. Billy tips for pepper lovers. Try chewing a few fresh peppercorns straight from the vine. You'll see why locals call it the island's black gold. Buy different types, black, red, ripe, and salt. Preserved, each has its own unique flavor. And if you get the chance, ask a farmer how they grow pepper by hand. It's truly fascinating. Now, let's talk about fish sauce. Every time I take guests into a traditional fish sauce workshop, they all have the same reaction. They step inside, wrinkle their noses at the smell. Then, just a few minutes later, their expressions change. No more discomfort, just respect. I usually bring them to an old house of barrels in Duong Dong, where rows of 4-meter-tall wooden vats are filled with anchovies and sea salt. fermenting over time. No fancy machines, no high-tech labs, just sunlight, patience, and tradition. One of the fish sauce artisans once told me, "Making fish sauce is like raising a child. You have to be patient. You can't rush it. Let it mature in its own time." And the best part? These golden amber drops, drizzled over a hot bowl of rice, paired with grilled fish, mixed into a bowl of bun ken. They're the soul of Phu Quoc cuisine. Without fish sauce, every dish feels one beat off. Billy tips for fish sauce explorers. Visit one of the heritage workshops, like Hung Thin, Kai Hoan, or Thin Phat. They'll let you sample, explain the process, and share stories like they're passing down legends. Take home a bottle of Nuoc Mam Kat, first press fish sauce. Not just to use, but to remember. And if you're lucky, try Nuoc Mam Tham, the purest, most fragrant extract from the first drip. Now picture this. You're standing inside a wooden workshop. Light streams through the old tiled roof. The smell of fish sauce fills the air. The workers move quietly, almost like they're guarding a sacred treasure. You close your eyes, take a deep breath, and suddenly you realize this isn't just an ingredient. It's heritage. I'm Billy Tran, and I truly believe every place has a soul. In Phu Quoc, that soul doesn't live in five-star hotels. It lives in the bite of a peppercorn and the depth of a single drop of fish sauce. Have you ever visited a traditional craft village that left you in awe? Or tasted something that instantly brought you home even when you were far away? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. We've dived under moonlit waters, slurped bun ken noodles on a rocking boat, and rode motorbikes along winding coastal roads. But today, I don't want to talk about the scenery. Today, I want to talk about the people, the ones who quietly breathe soul, warmth, and life into this island. Have you ever had a conversation with someone who didn't speak your language, and yet you completely understood each other? For me, that happens every single day. I remember one morning, I was leading a tour through Ham Ninh fishing village. An old fisherman was mending his nets beside his boat. A Canadian guest sat nearby. Curious, watching him work, she didn't speak Vietnamese. The fisherman looked up, smiled, a smile that needed no translation, and handed her a piece of torn net. He gestured. "Want to try?" She nodded. And there they sat, side by side, weaving net for nearly 30 minutes. Not a single word exchanged, but so much was said. In Phu Quoc, hospitality doesn't live in brochures. It lives in the eyes, the hands, and the glass of iced tea offered in the middle of a hot afternoon. You'll meet a fruit vendor who peels you a fresh pineapple just because. "You look tired, sweetheart." A motorbike driver who offers to take you around the island, not for the money, but because it's more fun with company. And people like me, tour guides, who could talk for hours just because your eyes light up when you ask, "Hey Billy, what's so special about Phu Quoc?" Once a market lady asked me, "What do foreign guests love most about us?" I said, "They love what's real. Real food, real kindness, real greetings, real smiles, real waves goodbye." Picture this. You don't just come to Phu Quoc for the beaches, the seafood, or the Instagram shots. You come here and meet someone. Maybe an old man selling pepper, a fisherman steering his boat, or a little kid playing on a wooden pier. And you go home with their story. You share it with your friends and smile to yourself, "I met someone on that island, and they made me believe in goodness again." Billy's final tip. When you visit a new place, don't just look, ask. Don't just take pictures, listen. And don't just pass through, stay a while in someone's heart. I'm Billy Tran, and I'm not just a tour guide. I'm a storyteller. Someone who brings you the smallest, most genuine stories of Phu Quoc, not through drones or filters, but through the heart. If you've been here before, tell me, who did you meet? What did you eat? Was there a moment that made you feel like you truly belonged here, even just for a few days? If you haven't visited yet, I hope this video is your gentle invitation. Phu Quoc is still here, with people like me, ready to open our hearts as long as you come with curiosity and sincerity. Drop a comment if you want more videos about locals, the stories behind the dishes, or the magic of slow travel across our island.